Hey everybody, this is Steven, the youngest of the brothers born. You may recall a couple episodes ago, David gave me some very good parenting advice. And then the following episode, Kevin and I talked about fictional parents, the good ones and the bad ones. The episode you're about to hear was recorded on the day of my daughter's birth by David and Kevin. And they intentionally give me terrible parenting advice. So I want to set the record straight that what you're about to hear is in no way a true reflection of my brothers as parents. They're both great dads, and this is more for fun. It did make me laugh, and I hope it does the same for you. Enjoy. Steven!
Kevin!
David.
With our powers combined, we are the
Brothers
Born.
By the power of podcasting,
We have the power!
Hey everybody, this is the Brothers Born podcast. It's on Steven today. And we're gonna talk about a few things. So Steve,
Yep. Who
yeah.
needs him?
Huh?
Who needs that millennial anyways, man?
That's true.
Wait,
That's true.
I think you are almost a millennial.
Technically I am a millennial. I'm like was born like the first year.
Sometimes I hear that it starts in 83. Other times I hear that it starts in 82. One time I heard it starts in 79. But either way, I'm still not one, even if it starts in 79.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it could be worse. It could be part of Gen Z, man. Those guys are whack. Anyway,
like our kids.
yes, like our kids, exactly.
Speaking of kids,
Speaking of
about
kids,
to have his first kid any day now.
at the time of this recording, that's why Steve isn't with us. Actually, he may be having their first little child, little Steven or little Stephanie. Do you find it weird that Steven and Stephanie basically have the same name?
Yeah, kind of. I wonder what they're going to name them. Like, do you think they'll go for an S name for the baby or something totally different?
I have no idea.
I do think that's weird. I've always thought that. I don't know. And I always call them S and S.
S and S.
Yeah. Or Steve and Steph. I don't know. But usually when I'm doing texting or whatever, I'm just like, hey, what are S and S up to? That's what I do.
That's pretty good. So since he's not with us, I'm sure he's going to listen to this because he's the one that edits all these things together. So we're going to
talk the ones that we do without him.
Exactly. So we're going to talk to him.
Like a
now I'm a parent. I have two children. You're a parent. You have like 30.
I don't know. I think last count I can't remember. But I have 5 that I appreciate and like more than the rest. So we'll just say I have 5.
All right, 5 works. 5 works. So
I can count them on one hand.
So I thought maybe we should give Steven some parenting advice, but he's also kind of a dork sometimes. So I feel like we should give him really bad parenting advice.
That's a good idea. I like that.
So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna talk about
so are we gonna have you want to have like because I was thinking we could start at the hospital, but by the time he gets this to the hospital, it'll probably be over, I guess.
Like, yeah, that should be pretty much done by then. Well, maybe not, but yeah, probably.
Yeah. I don't know. I liked when I was in the hospital. I didn't get Alana good food from outside the hospital, but I should have gotten her. And I walked the baby in the hallway, even though the nurses told me not to. I got reamed up for that. Really need to keep him out of the hallway. There's too many germs. But I was going to talk about what you bring to the hospital. But by the time he gets this, like, did you bring any bags? Like, or did you forget something in the bag?
Honestly, I don't remember that well, but ours with our first child, our hospital experience was a little bit unique on account that we were living in a foreign country at the time.
So we had to go. But she's still an American citizen because.
Yes, she is.
Military base. Okay.
No, well, it wasn't actually on a military base. It was outside of the military base, but she's born U.S. parents. So we go to this hospital in Belgium, and it's like initially our doctor or whatever OB person was this English lady, but circumstances were such that she had to go back to England for something, and it just so happened that she had to go back to England when our daughter was born. So instead, we had to talk to this French-speaking doctor. I don't know French, so that was interesting.
He could have been telling you guys anything.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, he wasn't too bad, but like the nursing staff, they basically only spoke French. So we're just like, I don't know what's going on right now.
Man, that would suck. So go to the hospital with well, down in Florida, maybe he'll have some Spanish speaking doctor
There
or
you go.
some stereotypical Florida man. I hope not. Florida man helps.
He is a Florida man. So yes,
I
so
know.
our
That's true.
advice number one for Stephen is know a foreign language before you go to the hospital. I'm going to
Florida man
suggest
falsifies his doctorate degree or MD certification.
I'm going to
Anyways,
suggest Farsi because everybody in Florida speaks Farsi. So Stephen, learn Farsi before you go to the hospital.
you have a few hours to do it. Swahili might be good too.
Yeah, Swahili would be good.
Either of those. But no, like I guess we should start the advice like maybe from the time the baby comes home then, huh? So
Uh,
just make sure it's more exciting when you bring the baby home and you have no supplies ready to go. Like you have no diapers. I'm sure he's gotten some already through his baby shower that I heard all kinds of stuff about. I'm thinking I was going to actually be able to make it somehow. But yeah, make sure you always like it's more exciting when you have to buy the supplies last minute, and everybody likes it better that way too.
Obviously, yeah. And plus, I mean, you don't know what's going to happen. So it's better not to buy any baby supplies before you bring them
Right,
home. And then that way, when you bring the child home, you'll have an idea because you don't want to buy anything unnecessary, obviously.
right,
So, just don't have anything at all. And then you'll kind of figure out what you need and just kind of go accordingly.
right. And if you're out of diapers, you can always leave the diaper on for. It doesn't matter how big the diaper gets. And plus, when it's bigger, because it's more full, the baby's more cushioned when he falls down or whatever, or when she falls down. So you can let the diaper go for a little while if you're in the middle of a D&D game or something, and you have to choose between that and changing a diaper. If you have to wait a little bit extra time to change the diaper, you can do that, I think.
Yeah, obviously. And or you could just reverse it, turn it the other way direction. Then you get twice the use
Oh,
out of the
that's true.
diaper.
I think Steven does that with his underwear already, man.
That's true.
So if you just like his normal what he's used to already.
And speaking of D&D, I know it has a lot of dice, and there's one thing I know about babies as a parent is that they love holding dice and putting it in their mouth. That's perfectly safe. It's fine.
Right? Especially, I mean, if it has more sides on it, it's not as pointy as it goes down if the baby accidentally swallows it or something.
Exactly.
It has like so many different vertices and whatever, so it's not as much, it's more rounded out. So plus, I mean, as going down, it probably cleans out the colon a little bit. So that's true. Good
Yeah,
idea.
you got to clean that out for sure.
That is true. So definitely diapers. It's best to. Plus, you want to always if you wait for a good sale. If you're buying too much, you never know if you're getting the best deal. So you might as well wait till right when you need them. And so that way you don't have all these extras laying around. Same with baby wipes. I mean, I think you could probably it's a good idea if you run out of baby wipes, you can always stick those bad boys in the washing machine.
Yeah, you could, or you can get some of those dish scrubbies that you use for like cleaning dishes. You got to make sure you got everything nice and clean.
Right?
Well,
Just scrub down there. Yeah, those things, especially if you get the wire ones, those
yeah,
ones they'll get everything out of there, man.
for sure. Steel wool is the way to go when it comes to wiping your baby's butt.
And people are
For
gonna
sure.
like if we're gonna have the cops knocking on our door for like ah. Anyways, you know what else is always good to do? Like you want the mom for sure, because I mean there has to be a strong bond between the mom and the child. So in order to make that stronger, every time the baby's screaming at night, I mean, even if you know you hear it more than your wife does, it's better for the wife and for the baby if she gets the baby, it builds a stronger connection between the two of them. So just let that baby cry until your wife wakes up.
Oh no, yeah, obviously. I can't tell you how many times in the early days when Kylie would be crying, I'd wake up and it'd be like 1 in the morning, and like, and I want to go help the baby, but at the same time, I'm like, you know what? I really want to make sure that that mother-child bond is really
Exactly.
built up. So, sometimes I would even wake Tasha up. I'd nudge her a few times, push her around, push her off the
Right,
bed, be like,
exactly.
hey, go take care of the baby. And of course, because she's up now, anyways, I'm
Breakfast
like,
for you, breakfast
yeah,
for
it's
you.
like, hey, why don't you just
Right.
make me some breakfast while you're at it?
And it
Teach
doesn't
us
it
how what
doesn't
to
hurt
do.
to always remind them, well, I'm the one who's working and making the money around here. So I really need you to do this for me.
Exactly. You have to remind them that you're the one that makes. Sometimes they forget, so it's important to remind your
Right.
wife, "Hey, I'm the one that makes the money, so you should really be taking care of the kid by yourself,"
Exactly.
because you
I
want that
agree.
bond for sure.
Yeah, but you don't want to the bond between a mother and a child is the strongest of all bonds, and you don't want to interrupt the development of that.
Yeah, of course not.
I agree. And also, like, I mean, you're not the one, you don't have to be the one feeding the baby because by law, by nature's law, you aren't the one who needs to feed the baby.
No,
So
obviously,
whether
just
the baby's bottle fed or not, whatever, it's still not your. It's
just
better if you let her have enjoy her responsibility and
the
just
the way I look at it is, animals have been around for thousands, thousands, thousands of years, right? So if you look at
longer than we
towards
have. That's for sure.
Yeah, so if you look towards the animal kingdom, like, do you ever see the male dog feeding a baby? No, of course not.
Different. I mean, seahorses maybe they carry the baby, but seahorses are whack anyways. But other than that, like, I mean, a seahorse doesn't know what it is. Is it a fish? Is it a horse? Normal animals. You're right. I agree with you. Standard animals.
If you look at like a giraffe, for example, baby's born standing up, it's walking around already. I mean,
Right.
there's no reason why humans can't do
That's true too. I mean,
that.
I can understand getting a walker, like Steven, get a walker the first couple months or whatever, but after that, just put the baby on its feet and let go. And if the thing falls down, you just got to keep doing it. Also, it's
Yes,
important to learn how to navigate the stairs early in the process.
that's true. No, and baby walkers are incredibly important. We don't, you know, that baby's got to learn to walk sooner or later. Sooner is better. And as you said, stairs definitely. If you have stairs in the house, at least I would say maybe first week, not so much. That baby's gonna be tired, but after that, every
Right.
day,
I
get them
mean,
a little bit, give them up another step, another step. Work towards that
yeah.
progress so they can get up
And
there.
it goes back to that fold up diaper. I mean, if the baby falls, it just bounces right up.
Exactly.
So there's a lot of things that I think all these things you might not have thought of for when the kid's just a baby and a toddler. So those are good. And then after a while, like as the baby grows up, because my oldest is going to be 15. Geez, what is today? In 20 days. So, I mean, what are some things like we kind of covered the toddler years, unless can you think of anything else? But like as the baby starts to grow up towards like
Well, I did think of
where they're
one
starting
thing.
to talk and we'll go, okay, go ahead.
I did one thing about toddlers. That's a very important part of their development, those early toddler years. That's where they really kind of get a foundation and things like that. And the thing is, you want to make sure that they're able to explore. But most importantly, when it comes to toddlers, they know what's best. So really, whatever they ask for really should be what you give
That
them.
is true.
You don't want to it doesn't matter what it is. You don't want to stop them from exploring their world. You don't want to stop them from having experiences.
Right.
So, if your toddler
I
wants
mean,
to,
that's why they call it the terrible twos, because if you don't let them have what you want, then they're pretty terrible. But if you give
exactly,
them everything they want, and like you obviously during that time, you don't want to be the authoritative person either, because you want to, I mean, the mom, it's important to develop that bond as we talked about earlier. But as they get older, you want to develop a friendly relationship with the kid. Like it's good to have them so they know that you're their best friend, right? And
exactly. Being your
willing
child's
to
best
give them
friend is
whatever they
important.
want. It doesn't matter what's in the budget, or it doesn't matter like if people are saying you're spoiling them, you're really just making them like you more, like buying their affection. So that's important to do
Yeah.
because you don't have that natural bond like the mom does. So you got to buy their affection and get it that way,
If they want to eat a chocolate bar at 1 o'clock in the morning, that's fine.
right? Because it might make them stop screaming for a little while, and
Yeah.
that's
So
what we want.
that's what we want. We want the toddler to stop
I
screaming.
mean,
Yes, for sure.
especially if you're in the middle of a Dungeons and Dragons game, or whatever, you're making a podcast. I know this for sure. Like you're making a podcast with your brothers. You don't want that baby screaming in the background. If that baby wants a chocolate bar, if it wants to play on what's that thing called, like Coco Melon or whatever, like if it wants to watch Blippi thousands of times, then that's what you got to let it do.
I found that giving my children knives at a very early age, like learn how to cut their food, was a
You're
very good
getting in
idea.
trouble for this. Yes, yes, yes. Obviously, you don't want to get them like really sharp knives right away. You could start with a butter knife if you want, like, but you do have to, when you give them a steak, like give them their first steak when they're probably like 9 months old or something, maybe even a little younger.
Yeah, 9 months is a good age for a steak for sure.
I think something to chew on, but like when you start getting steaks, then obviously they need a steak knife. But right away, butter knife's probably fine. So, and if you're, yeah, you can even give them plastic knives at first too, if you need to. But then the sooner you introduce it, because if you don't do that, then they're not even going to know it. Are they even going to be ready for their first machete at age 5?
No, obviously not. I mean, cool. And I also found that it does make things easier on mom if you let the child teach them how to cook at a very early age. So like right away, as soon as, Kylie was able to even like remotely stand, I had her at that stove,
Right,
just
right.
messing around, putting stuff on it,
You got to show them how to open up the oven door, and I
obviously,
mean,
and the refrigerator, of course.
plus when there's a mess, when they make a mess, I mean, you don't have time. You're so busy with what you do as a dad, Stephen. You don't have time to clean up anything in that kitchen. If they spill stuff everywhere, don't cry. What they say is true. Don't cry over spilled milk. You don't need to worry about it.
Yeah, no, exactly.
I mean, the baby can help, and whatever the baby can't clean up, your wife can do it. Obviously, the dog can also clean a lot up off the floor. Plus, the dog could even clean the baby when needed.
That's
I
true.
mean, Kevin didn't really have that advantage, but I know you have a dog, Stephen. I have a dog. Those things make use out of them.
I,
They can clean the baby.
I will say one of the big differences between the development of your children versus my children is the fact that I didn't have a dog to help assist with
That's
the
true.
cleaning and
That's
taking
one
care of
weakness
it.
that Kevin had that he probably wishes he could take back.
For
He doesn't
sure.
want to dog now that they're older, but back then he probably regrets it. So you're good. It's good that you have a dog, Stephen. So, and then, like I said, like you're too busy doing your manly stuff and, fixing whatever you have to fix and whatever. You don't have time to clean anything. Not only the kitchen, I mean, you don't have time to clean up that baby's toys. If you did, when would you have time to do the things that you need? Because you can't forget about yourself through all this process, right?
Oh, of course, yeah.
I mean, you have to spend time for self-care.
And speaking of cleaning, one thing I do feel is as a healthcare professional, actually, this is something that, very important advice. When it comes to like germs and things, of course, when we get sick, we build up immunity, right? You want that immunity built up early.
That is true.
So
I kind of wish my kids were born during COVID just
yeah,
because of that reason.
exactly. So what you really don't want to be washing your kids' hands. You don't want to be washing their silverware. Get that junk dirty, man. Just let
Right.
those germs all over the place. You need to build that immunity up.
And curiosity is a beautiful thing. If they see something weird looking on the floor at the Walmart that looks like a squished up gummy or just, I mean, let them try it. If they don't like it, they could spit it back out.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, we don't want to, we don't want to mess up their curiosity because that's really what makes them grow and know who they are and build up their immunity. That's important too. I mean,
That's a win-win right there.
I agree. So I hope that like there's so much advice I wish I would have had when I think our kids were, what, Kali is 14 now.
Kylie's she'll be
She's
14.
turning 14.
She'll be 14 in December.
And Brian will be 15. So like we had children around the same time. So we didn't really have older brothers to kind of give us this advice we just kind of had to take it as it came. So I'm glad we can impart some of this wisdom on Stephen.
Yeah, no, for sure.
I think we just made the first few years of his baby's life that much better.
That's true. And I don't have a lot of experience in like the teenage years because Kylie's only just now, turning 14. But that's really when they're starting to develop into adulthood as teenagers. And I find that one of the most important things is and I believe Steven's having a daughter.
Yes.
So I think one of the most important things when it comes to a teenage girl is let her wear whatever she wants. Let her just express herself, and that's what's important in those teenage years, the ability to express herself. So let her wear whatever clothes she wants. If some boys come in and talking to her, or whatever, that's fine. She needs to get that experience early on. So yeah, it's fine.
Right, and even before the teenage years, whatever they want to wear, that's fine. She could probably is going to want to get into wearing makeup a little bit. So, let her do her thing with Stephanie's makeup, even the brand new expensive stuff that Stephanie gets. I don't know how much white makeup she wears, but you know how girls have their lotions and crap like that and stuff. Like the baby should have full reign for that, I would think.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, for sure.
Or the
For
even
sure.
the kid growing up and let them wear whatever clothes they want. It doesn't matter. Um,
In this digital age,
yes, yes, I was
technology
coming
is
to that.
important. So as a
Agreed.
teenager, actually even before that, as soon as they're able to look at a screen, you want them to have as much
Right.
time as possible
I mean,
on
when they're
that
only like
iPad,
one,
on that
you might have to help
computer.
hold the iPad for them, which is
Yeah.
okay because while you're watching TV, instead of, I mean, you could play with all the toys with them, but your show's on and you want your kid to know about technology. So you just hold that device there while you're watching your show or playing your game or whatever. And then eventually they'll be able to hold it on their own and you're good. Like, plus you won't have all these like educational toys laying all over that you'll be tripping over and having to clean. Just give them that tablet as soon as they can. That's important because one thing, they didn't even have cell phones when we were kids. And I sort of regret that because I sometimes now that I'm older and I'm not getting this as early as the kid, it takes a little longer for me to catch on how to do things.
Yeah,
So,
I don't know how our parents did it with not having the ability to just hand us a phone
right.
or a tablet,
How did our parents do anything?
especially when we're out having like dinner as a family someplace. I mean, that kid does,
Exactly, man.
especially like the teenagers, they're too cool. They don't want to be, associated with their parents all the time. So yeah, just give that to them, man. Let them
And at
have fun.
church too, it's important. Like, because if the kids make any noise at all, everyone at church stares at you. So just give them the device right there, all the way through church. Keep that bad boy on. And of course, there's a time when you have to take away the device because you can't have it 24/7. But at this time, when this time happens, I suggest, again, going back to that natural motherly relationship that the child will have with your wife, with the mom, that should always be the mom's responsibility to take away the device.
No,
Of
yeah, of
course, you'll
course.
give it to him. You'll give it to him for sure because that you have it in your pocket too. So you give it to him. But when it's time to wrap it up, that's definitely let Stephanie do that. Let her take away the device.
It,
You don't want to do that.
it is important for the mother to be the one that really kind of, because they have developed that bonds, because they spent so much time in those early years, they developed that bond. Really, most pretty much any disciplinary action and things should really come
Man,
from mother
we
because they
definitely
have
are
that bond.
too. We're
You know,
good parents because we're thinking the same things. Go ahead with that thought because that's what I was going
So
to.
for us, it's important. We're providers. Since we do the work, we're providers, so we should be
We're going to be
providing.
so much trouble, man.
We should be providing not only for our wife, when necessary, but also for our children. And part of that being
And wait,
providing
wait, wait.
also.
I'm not going to interrupt you long, but you forgot one key element. Also for yourself,
Oh yeah, obviously you have to provide for
still
yourself.
your hobbies are still important
They are.
because if not, what kind of father are you going to be anyways? You need your stuff. Board games, sure, buy them all. Dungeons
Yeah.
and Dragons, whatever you need. Musical instruments. But go ahead, back to what you were saying.
Yeah,
Sorry.
exactly. And so part of that providing for your child is to provide them the opportunity to really enjoy life with you.
Right.
Um, so you don't really need to handling the discipline portion of it because you don't want that child to hate you or anything like that. So, you
Not at
play with
all.
the kid, like give them that screen, and then when it is that rare occurrence when they need to, kind of wrap it up a little bit, yeah, for sure, let the wife handle that. They already have that bond. They're going to be trusted more.
That's true. You're right. Exactly. And like you said, pretty much any discipline. I mean, that has to be what happens. And like, obviously, you can't have two people disciplining the child because then the poor kid, man, it'll always feel like everyone's just disciplining them all the time. They need a best friend, and that's your job. The mom has the maternal bond. You got the best friend group. And also, like, anything you can get your kid to do in public, or not just maybe not in public, any silly thing you could get that the world might view as dangerous, but it could be a good photo opportunity. Like I'm trying to think of some examples here.
Oh, yeah, I see what
Um,
you're saying. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Photo
like
opportunities
you
are the
want that
best.
on Facebook. You
Oh
do.
yeah,
Like
obviously, yeah. That is important. I think we didn't stress that much. It is very absolutely imperative that you
like
really, let your
I know
children
we
be
don't
express
drink, but an
themselves.
example I can think of, I know we don't drink, but an example I can think of is having a beer bottle there with, the child holding it. That's just funny stuff, man.
Yeah.
Anything like that. I
It,
mean, maybe I guess the worst for you because you're a gamer, Steve. Maybe if you have any Mountain Dews or whatever. I mean, we don't drink alcohol, but in our family, but a Mountain Dew would be a good substitute. I can think of just have the baby holding that, or like yeah, anything like that. That's a good photo opportunity.
I want to go back to this thing you're talking about because you mentioned Facebook, and it's a very important point. I do feel that And this goes back especially in the teenage years when they need to really be expressing themselves as much as they can. I think giving them the opportunity to post themselves on social media, all the social media,
Oh,
honestly, as
how did
much
I
as
not think of that?
possible, because you want them to have that exposure. You want people to
Yes, because they might be um influencers one day,
yeah,
like
they
on
could be
TikTok or
influencers one day.
YouTube.
Yeah, it's practice, and obviously you want complete strangers to see exactly what they're up to, because that's those are things that could become important later.
Dude, if I would have had that when I was younger, who knows? I could be touring with like any kind of big Dave Matthews Band. Like if I would have had that exposure when I was younger, or I could have reached my act dreams of being an actor much more easily.
Yeah, exactly.
Because
And the,
I
and
mean
the good
that's
thing
what
about
you want to.
and the good thing about social media when it comes to your kids is those are people that they don't know physically. They're like complete strangers, but it's over distance, so it's perfectly fine for them to talk to them.
Plus,
And
it
it
gives them
gives
a
them a
way to
chance to
learn how to.
socialize.
There's you bring up a good point. Also, like I mean, you have to know how to, you have to understand how to talk to text. You have to understand like the abbreviations. You have to know how to make a meme. You have to know how to bully people online. So, like, how are you going to do that without just letting them go online with whoever they want, right? Just let them talk, let them say whatever they want. I mean, those are in the world, the way the world is today, that's kind of important.
Yeah.
And yeah,
So
like if that's something they want to do with their lives, be a social media influencer or whatever, like I say, don't
yeah, I mean
let
that's
them
that's
down
where
in their
things are headed
dreams.
now.
I mean, look,
Um,
where would Blippy be if his in Ryan's world? Where would those people be if their mom and dad told them no?
exactly. I mean the sky's the limit.
And
We're kind of
that one two buckle my shoe kid. I don't know if even know him yet, but
no, I
or any
don't.
of these kids that get famous off
Well,
of
we're
YouTube
we're
and
uh,
stuff.
we're starting to run short a little time, so we got anything we want to wrap up real quick?
Oh, but we have so much more to discuss.
Yeah, we do. We really do.
I mean, as they get older, I guess we have a couple minutes. We'll just wrap. We'll hit a couple hot points. The driver's license. I mean, it's good to give them their driver's license as soon as they can. And then like what they can drive you around everywhere while you don't have to pay attention while they're driving because you can just chill. I mean, it's easiest, best for them to learn if you're letting them do it on their own anyways. I mean, I would maybe even consider being prepared, like before they even get their permit, like 13, 14 years old, they should start driving then so they're prepared. And then you could be eating your
But
food on your
I
phone while they
I put
drive.
my daughter behind the wheel of a
Yeah.
car when she was 9.
I,
Um, or maybe it was 10. I think it was 10. It was the first time I had her behind
um,
the car. Yes, because it was the same time I bought her own gun. So,
I haven't done that. I can't go that far, but yeah, I mean, it's important to do that. And just remember, like as they get older, they may start to think that they know they have this attitude they develop and stuff, and it's not because of how you raised them, like you personally. It's not because of anything these things we taught you to do. I mean, they're just going to have that attitude, so you just got to deal with it. Like I said, usually mom is the disciplinarian, so mom can usually take care of some of that. But if you have to, the best thing is just to take away all their stuff and throw them in the room and ground them for tell them that they're grounded for life or whatever. And then obviously once they've learned their lesson, then a couple hours later say, okay, well, you stopped crying, or you said please, and so now you're ungrounded. You don't
yeah,
have to really. You can dish out the punishments, but as long as they've learned their lesson, you don't have to follow through on it. Just it could open threats are fine as long as they've learned their lesson.
yeah, no, you're
So yeah,
right.
but just as
It,
long as you speak your voice, I would even yell at like scream at them, say whatever, you're grounded, whatever, you're never going to see your friends again. They learned their lesson after a couple hours, let them have it back as long as they apologize to you.
yeah, no, for sure. And I think in the unlikely event that you actually have them grounded for the entire duration that you had initially given them, it is important to make sure, let's say you ground them from like video games, right? But sometimes there's a video game that you just really want to play. So just
But
kind
you
of,
feel like a dork playing by yourself.
yeah. So, just be like, hey, you know what, this will make an exception this time. That's fine. And plus, let them understand that, sometimes, rules are there from place, but, there are ways around them once in a while. So it's
You're right.
important.
You're right. You're right. And then when you get to that point, especially video game specific, like when you're done playing the game because you're ready to go to sleep, but they want to keep playing. Well, okay. Well, tonight's fine since you already played. You can go ahead and be online for a couple more hours. Just make sure you get to bed by 3 in the morning or whatever. And if not, then just make sure you get the sleep you need. You can sleep until noon the next day if you want, if you need it. So yeah, like you're right. Like they have to understand the rules are there, but sometimes rules are made to be broken. And
Yeah, no, for sure. And when they're at that age of school, I mean, school is important, but sometimes it's more important to just, experience life. So if they have those days
right,
where they don't want to go to school, that's fine. It's perfectly fine.
especially since you have to go to work anyways. I mean, there's lots of magical adventures that they could have with. Of course, when Stephanie works again, that'll be a little bit tougher, but yeah, you're right. Take a sick day or just let them explore the day on their own,
Yeah,
that
no,
could
for
be
sure.
too.
But
I had one more thing I just thought of and not one away. It was a good one.
well, I mean, I think Steven will be good with what we got. We've given him some good,
Yeah,
solid parenting advice.
true, true.
So I think I think he'll be prepared. He'll be okay.
I agree. I mean, all these things we're sharing are things I wish I would have known when I was younger, obviously. I mean, they can have sugar at nighttime. If they want to eat a Pop-Tart and a lemonade before they go to bed. I mean, because if they're really crying for example, like they're screaming and screaming, you got to give in to them, man. They're sad, they're crying, they're upset.
You're right.
Give them their
And
sugar before bed.
especially when they're younger, because I mean, the dentists say that sugar kind of helps rot the teeth, causes teeth to rot and they get cavities. But dude, their baby teeth are going to go away anyway.
Right? It
So it
also
doesn't
goes
really
back to
matter. They don't even really have to brush their teeth that age. They can just wait until they're adults and their adult teeth come
yeah,
out. So
they'll
yeah,
fall
that's
out.
a fair point. And that
Plus,
helps
it
them
goes
go.
back to the immunity system too. I mean, if they're exposed to that stuff earlier, it's better for them, obviously.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Because the
Building up
their
immunity is
system takes
important
care of
for
it.
sure.
Yeah. So all the sweets are good. Yep. I think that's a pretty good list. Um, I yeah, I don't know. You don't want them to have to do too many chores because they're just children, but yet you also want them to do the jobs that you. So that's kind of a tough balance. Like if they don't feel like doing the dishes and taking the trash out because they're too busy doing important things, you don't want to interrupt that. But yeah, on the other hand, when there's something you have to do that you don't feel like doing, then they do have to understand at that point in time that they need to do all the work that you are supposed to be responsible for around the house. Like you
Yeah.
can get her, I don't know how big your lawn is. I haven't been to visit you, but get her mowing that lawn as soon as you can.
Yeah, no, exactly.
If you need
And
to stain your floors, you got to teach her how to do that right away, or just anything like that. Like if it's something that you just can't do at that time because you're playing a game of Dungeons and Dragons, am I right? Like get that kid doing that stuff. But
yeah,
on the
you're
other
right.
hand, you don't want to force them to do, because if you force them to do their chores all the time, then it'll be harder to get them to do your stuff that you're supposed to do. So if you don't get the chores done, usually, I mean, I know that moms are so wonderful. Usually the mom will cover the chores if the kids don't, because that's just what, I mean, you're good.
Yeah, I think that'll work out. Yeah,
So
so hopefully Stephen takes what was said, what our lessons that we learned, and applies them. And I feel like our new niece or whatever is going to grow to be a very, very productive member of society.
I agree. I agree. She'll be the most loud and opinionated, and I don't know, she'll be total. If she follows all those things, she'll be one of the most functioning members of society. Maybe she'll grow up to be president one day, or a YouTube influencer. Either way,
Yeah, I mean, obviously. So cool. Yeah, I'm glad we were able to
obviously
do
all
this.
these things we've said. I need to put some kind of disclaimer on it. Anybody who's listened to us on the internet, we've successfully raised 7 humans, at least to the age of 7 to 15, without any incidents occurring, major incidents. So we're just kidding, obviously. And if Stephanie hears these things, hopefully Stephanie knows we're just kidding too. But enjoy it, Steven. It'll be fun. You're going to have no sleep. And you're going to have times where you wonder, why did I decide this is what I wanted? But in the end, it'll be the greatest thing ever.
I will agree with that. No, I think we'll go ahead and close up. Yeah, so this was fun, and hopefully we'll get back
Hopefully not
together.
only have we reached our brother, but any other potential parents that listen to us. There you go. And you don't even have to pay us the 99, or no, that's for the throwdown anyways, the 99 cents a month. Or is it for both podcasts? I don't know.
I think for instance, throw down for right now.
That advice we gave you is what I'm trying to say, is that was free advice from 2 old experienced parents.
Well, thanks for listening to this, everybody. We'll see you around, and then hopefully next time we'll have Steven with us, and yeah, we'll be good to go.
And he'll be well on his way to being a great dad.